President Trump's... That's the muffin syndrome, yeah. President Trump says he's willing to talk to Special Counsel Robert Mueller in the Russia probe. Roll that tape.
There's been no collusion whatsoever. There's no obstruction whatsoever. And I'm looking forward to it. I do worry when I look at all of the things that you people don't report about with what's happening.
To reach a higher standard, you would do it under oath.
Oh, I would do it under oath.
You would, yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, David Bossie is with us. He is the author of that book, Let Trump Be Trump, and he joins us now. That's a fairly aggressive stance by the president. No collusion, no obstruction of justice. Yeah, I'll talk to Mueller. What do you make of that?
Well, I think the president's saying exactly what he's been saying for many months. There is not a scintilla of evidence that this campaign colluded or cooperated in any way with Russia. And there's no evidence to prove it in the public eye or elsewhere. It's ridiculous, and that's what the president's saying. And I think he goes on to say, I will talk to Mueller because he really wants to get this over with so he can get to the business of making America great again. And I got to tell you, if I was advising him on this and I ran the investigations of the Clintons, I was on the other side, I ran the congressional investigations in the 90s, I think that the president should go carefully. I think that the interrogatories is really, I think his lawyers need to do a good job of discussing with Mueller what the scope of it is going to be, the questioning, and then get those questions in writing and then let the president answer under oath back in writing. I think that's a very good middle ground.
Okay. Now, you say that the Trump team should prosecute California's Attorney General for not enforcing immigration law. So you're taking a strong stand on that.
Without question. Look, I'm tired of these left-wing lunatics around the country deciding that they're going to pick and choose what laws to follow. This guy out in California, this former congressman that is now the Attorney General, needs to be made into an example. And that's what law enforcement is about. They pick and choose. And I think that Attorney General Jeff Sessions needs to lay down the law, and he needs to say to a state's attorneys general, you will follow the federal law. You can't pick and choose. People don't, in California, they don't get to pick and choose what laws they want to follow because their attorney general will prosecute them. So you can't do the same thing just because you're an elected official.
It sometimes seems that California is a different country from the United States. And I say that for good reason. There is this movement so that an illegal immigrant can walk into the DMV, get themselves a driver's license, and at that point they are automatically registered to vote. Yeah. That's outrageous, David.
It is outrageous, and that's one of the things this president has said when he was campaigning and since he's been president. We are a nation of laws, and the laws that are on the books, the ones that Barack Obama looked past and didn't want to prosecute, we're going to make sure that every law is prosecuted and is stood up on. And that's what he's telling his attorney general. Look, this attorney general, Jeff Sessions, is a law and order man. And that's how he came into the job, and that's what I think he's doing. And those letters that he sent just in the last few days, I think is the prelude, I hope, to some prosecutions.
Okay, got it, David. Strong stuff. Let Trump be Trump. All right, David Bossie.